Quite often, by some of our more Protestant brothers and sisters, Episcopalians are kind of seen as being biblically illiterate. But in actuality, we hear more of the Bible on Sunday than most any other denomination going. You've got 3 lessons in a psalm, and when people come to the Episcopal Church and are introduced to the prayer book, they're amazed at how much the Bible quotes the prayer book. So, we run that one by you again? So sometimes we know more of the Bible than we think. And we all have our favorite passages. I mean, we all know John 3:16 because we see somebody holding that sign up at football games or basketball games. When we were in Sunday school and we had to memorize a Bible verse, we just got on our knees and thanked God when we found Jesus wept. The shortest verse in the Bible. So we have those favorite verses. Paul's writings on love, a lot of Paul's writings, the 10 Commandments, the Lord's Prayer, all of those things. Probably what is not one of your favorite verses, I'm sure nobody has Adam, Seth, Enosh, Kenan, Mahalalel, Jared, Enoch, Methuselah, Lamech, Noah, Shem, Ham, Japheth, and it goes on for 10 chapters. I mean, whose favorite biblical passages are the first 10 chapters of Chronicles? Nobody. But we do have them. And we have one this morning when we get to the Lord's Prayer. We have that, the 23rd Psalm. We have that psalm that resonates with us so much. It resonates down in our soul and our spirit. And we have it during the Easter season because it's a resurrection psalm. It talks about the living God, the shepherd. The Lord is my shepherd. And the church has always understood that the shepherd was the risen Christ that it speaks about. It's interesting, and this is your biblical trivia for the week, that the 22nd Psalm, the one just before, is the psalm that's read on Good Friday. My God, why have you forsaken me? And then when we get to the Easter season, we turn the page of the 23rd Psalm with the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not be in want. So we've gone from one of desertion to one of eminence and presence with us at all times. And that's why the 23rd Psalm resonates with us. Because it resonates for a number of reasons. One, it's very personal. The Lord is my shepherd. He may be yours and he may be ours, but he's just mine. He's my personal shepherd. That's the one who looks after me and guides me, who looks out for me, who leads me beside those still waters and those lush green fields where we can rest and relax and find some peace and quiet for our souls. And if you look at the tense of the psalm, it's not something that's going to take place in the future. It's what's going on now. The Lord is my shepherd. Right now he is. He leads me right now to those places of peace and joy that we want to be part of. We know he is with us when those dark times of our lives come, when we're walking in the shadow of death, or any dark time of our soul. We know that he walks with us there as well. We know because he brings the light of resurrection and new life with him. And we know that we don't walk alone, but we walk through some determination and come out the other side. We may not know the Bible as well as some people do. We can't jump up and say Mark 3:16 and somebody's going to jump up and say whatever it is, or 1 Corinthians 27:9, or the story of that where the preacher got into the pulpit and said, "This morning I'm going to preach on the 27th chapter of St. Mark's Gospel, and all of you who've read it, raise your hand." And he said, there is no 27th chapter. We're preaching on liars today. So, but we know it's there. And trust me, some of those other folks don't know it as well as I think they do either. We once had somebody come to the door, one of those other denominations that goes door to door, and they were going on with their whole thing, and they said, God, it starts with Genesis, in the very beginning, in Genesis 1:1, and you know how that begins, don't you? And I said, yes, it begins Bara Bereshith Elohim. And they look at you like, well, and I didn't tell them that's all the Hebrew I know anymore. But we have this psalm today that we take to our hearts because it speaks to our hearts and our souls. It speaks to us because it says to us that God is with us every step of our lives. It tells us at the end that your goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. Not might follow you, might show up later on. It says shall follow me. You can't run from God. You can, but you can't hide. Wherever you go, He's with you. You can't go any place where God is not already there. He's with you in any place you go, in any situation you're in. And this psalm keeps reflecting that back to us. So it's no wonder that for 3,000 years it's been popular to us, because it speaks to our soul. It speaks in ways that we can understand. It's very personal, because all of those verses remind us of ourselves at some point. We've all wanted places to go and rest and relax and be away from everything. I want that about 3 times a week. We've all been through the dark valleys of death or tribulation or trials that go on, and we know that God brings us through the other side. We know that He provides for us in that table that's set before us. Sometimes we worry about how we're going to get through life, and we lose our trust in God. I learned a long time ago, and I'm still not good at it, but I learned a long time ago that at least in church work, when the wealthiest person in the parish dies, and you think, oh my goodness, what are we going to do for income next year? Somehow God works that out. Or when you've got the guy who for 20 years has been taking care of the yards and fixing the furnace and all that, and he goes off and dies or leaves the church for some reason or retires and moves to the other part of the country, how are we going to get that done? And God always seems to send somebody to fill in that gap. And so we have to learn to be patient and trusting as well, because the shepherd's going to be with us and not let us down. So it's personal, it's present, it's now, it's immediate. God is here, God is with us, we cannot hide from Him. He provides all that we need. And this is what we need. This is the story of Easter and resurrection and new life and new hope and the new promise for each of us. The Lord is my shepherd and your shepherd and your shepherd and all of our shepherds. He is the one who searches for us when we're the one who's lost, and He leaves the 99 to search for you and I. We are the one He comes after and cares for. He is the one who picks us up when we can't walk ourselves and carries us on His shoulders. That's the God we worship and believe in. That is our shepherd. That is the one we celebrate in this psalm and every week. So we have a shepherd. He's always with us. He always provides for us. We can never get away from Him. And if you can't learn anything else in the Bible, if you'll learn this psalm, you'll be ahead of the game.